third game of bets for you, at least potential. I know the first two you're playing with Washington and the under in Tennessee and Indianapolis, but Detroit, a 4-point favorite at the Saints, up from 3 on the look ahead, even after the Lions' Thanksgiving loss, but New Orleans lost at Atlanta as a favorite, and that line was all over the place throughout the week. And some news that is also kind of all over the place. Chris Olave dealing with a concussion. He was limited in practice on Wednesday. You and I were touching on this before we started recording. Typically, you don't see players come back the first week after they suffered a concussion, but the fact that he saw limited practice on Wednesday is definitely an encouraging sign. And the Lions ranked 27th across the NFL this season in general. So it's not just in a small sample size. They have taken a major step back, though, of late in terms of drop back success rate allowed. But what's your angle for Detroit, or potential angle for Detroit and New Orleans, Mel?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would love if Olave went. My $500 league need a W this week to lock in our playoff spot. And Olave should be in a really good situation here against a beatable Lions secondary in a dome with all of his compadres in that unit just wrecked, basically. I mean, but at the same time, like I said, this is not a thing that has been happening this year. I mean, very few players have been able to come back. Especially, we're not looking at like extra rest or anything from going to the concussion protocol. I mean, he went out of the game and didn't come back. Rashid Shaheed, also, who has actually been really good for them, he also went out of the game and did not come back. I mean, who are the Saints throwing to in this spot, man? I mean, with Michael Thomas already on IR, they finished the game last week with A.T. Perry, who is, I think, a 6th-round rookie or something. Something called Kirkwood and Lynn Bowden as their receivers. I think Lynn Bowden used to be a running back, okay?
He did. He was on Kentucky. He had a big performance in the Belk Bowl, I think.
Like, that's the receiving core they finished the game with. I mean, I don't think this, like, line move, which it was -3 on the look ahead, is, like, properly weighting what New Orleans is going to have at receiver. And pairing that with Derek Carr, who is maybe the most risk-averse passer in the entire league, this guy is terrified of pushing the ball downfield, okay? And they're going to need to score some points this game. I mean, we know Detroit's going to score points. I know the Saints' D has been solid, but
Lattimore has been a big loss going back to last week.
Yeah, and they've even been very good at times, but this Detroit offense is not an offense that just gets shut down completely. I mean, they're going to score some points. Like, the Saints are going to have to complete some passes and throw the ball here. Like, but how is that going to... I fear for any fantasy teams out there facing Alvin Kamara this week. He might catch 20 passes. Yeah. I mean, they're only going to go for 75 yards, but he might catch 20 passes. I mean, Derek Carr is addicted to dumping the ball off in the best of times.
That's a good
This could
point.
be unprecedented this week. Honestly, like, who are they throwing to? On the other side of the ball, you have a Saints defense that is playing a ton of man. I guess I always think of the Saints as more of a zone team, but they're playing a ton of man this year. I think they were 4th highest, and a lot of the mistakes we're seeing Jared Goff make have been thrown into linebackers dropping back in coverage. So I think that's kind of the way to throw some looks at him that confuse him. So he might have some more clear throwing lanes too here. And a Saints defense, like you said, even like Cam Jordan and Marcus May miss practice. I mean, this team is a disaster right now. And I am not happy to say that, since I bought some Saints futures maybe like a month ago when they were like plus 140 or something to win the division. That's like pretty much what they're back to. But yeah, the Lions only -4 here, where I wasn't too excited about them on the look ahead when they were -3. But I just think these injuries are piling up and mattering that much to where this line should be probably higher than it is. But maybe if Olave plays, it's reasonable. The other bets I have in my account already, but I'm not sure about this one yet. But man, I just do not see how the Saints can keep this game close. I mean, Olave, dude, he had like 10 catches for 110 yards or something in the first half. I mean, he's the entire passing offense right now.
Yeah, if Olave doesn't go, you'll definitely see some steam the other way. And that's why not that we touched on this game on the first episode to beat the closing number this week, but I wouldn't have. I mean, I'm with you. I don't see any reason to bet this game unless you're just trying to get ahead of the Olave movement, or one way or the other, I guess. But I think in this case, playing it safe, if you're looking to bet the Lions, is the way to go. Because like you said, who is Carr throwing the ball to if Olave is out? If he's in against this secondary, maybe you just root for your fantasy team. By the way, I'm in a little bit of a playoff predicament too, as Josh Dobbs really cost me a win with 4 picks on Monday night. Not fun, even though I cashed with Bears first half.